Hey, everybody. Good evening. It's a Monday. Here we are, Kevin Harnett, Ryan Hoke with you. You've probably been jolted by the rumbles of thunder and the lightning that we've had around over the last half hour or so here in Louisville. Probably the last 45 minutes, really. Jose was just on doing the news updates, so here we are to give you a weather update. There is no severe weather, but we thought, well, with as much lightning and thunder as we had moving through, we'd jump on and at least give you a quick update here. So appreciate folks jumping in to get that update. Notice the beautiful sunset as it gets closer to sunset time. You're starting to see the skies already clear.
Yeah, this was a skinny line of storms, so it didn't take long to get through here. So we're able to see kind of the sunset on the back side of this thing. Look, these storms we did have a pretty decent storm chance in the forecast today at 40%. But once these things coalesced together after they developed along US 50 in southern Indiana, it was game over. It was an equal opportunity storm for everybody in southern Indiana and north central Kentucky here. Hello to Shonda.
Yeah, from southern Indiana. Michelle saying round 2 in Webster, Kentucky.
Yes.
Angela saying hello or good evening to both of us. And we say it right back at you. We know we got a lot of people who always jump into the stream. The push alert went out on the news app first, and now the weather folks are jumping in. Rosalind saying, I had to swim to my car in the Fern Creek Long John Silvers. I know. I saw that in the Corridon camera shot.
Yes.
You see that deep water
that
there?
That was like 6 inches deep. And by the way, try not to drive through that if you can at all possible, because that can sweep you away if it's fast enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially if you're going across a creek or something.
Yes,
I mean, just wild. Drive home from E-Town to Radcliffe, the clouds were dark. Well, if you missed the rain, then you were doing something right, because, boy, I'll tell you, not only were the clouds dark, but they had a lot of rain. I mean, we're going to talk about that, so we'll let people get settled in here. But we've got a lot of moisture content, and we have had for the last week plus in the atmosphere. But change is on the way. Fear not. Change is on the way, and I think everybody's going to love
It's
this.
good change for a change, as it were. We're actually looking for a much better weather pattern by the end of the week. Everybody's going to be so excited. If you don't have weekend plans yet, make some. Please capitalize on what's getting ready to happen, because we don't get that this often to see weather like we're getting ready to see.
I'm going to put up just a few comments here. I'm going to swing through them. Becky's saying, crazy lightning. Boy, we've got some to show you. In fact, we appreciate you all showing us. Alexandria is saying, got a super cool picture, tagged you all. Thank you. We appreciate that. Here's Joe saying, wild thunder and lightning with that storm. You're not kidding. I was watching our SkyTrack cameras during Ryan's 7 o'clock broadcast. And it was like, bang, bang, bang. The lightning. I'm scared of lightning.
I am too.
It's not a, I don't mind chasing tornadoes. Lightning is unpredictable, and I just don't like it, because I think I don't like it because when I was growing up, I was at my family's cabin down at Rough River, and the cabin next door got struck by lightning. And so it blew out lights in the cabin. My aunt got shocked, who was cooking at the thing. So it was just like a scary moment. But but a moment that really made me interested in weather too. Yeah. So anyway, a lot of folks chiming in. We're going to get to some of your questions, but let me jump to the maps, because some people are like, just show us the radar, would you? Before we get to that, I want to point out earlier this evening as these storms rolled across, this is from our SkyTrack camera out at Kentucky Kingdom. Notice the heavy, heavy rain pushed through. So it was a blast of heavy rain.
A shelf cloud with that too.
Yeah, beautiful, movement in the sky. I'm going to thumb past this because I want to show you what it looked like downtown. And again, this is from our Harbors camera looking south to the skyline. Nice shelf cloud pushing in, and there.
And then look at the water of the river, too, as that pushes in. The gust front hits the water here, right there, boom, and you can see how choppy it gets. That's insane. You don't want to be on the water during that.
No, for sure you don't. and besides the lightning, there's what the cloud looked like as it moved across Spencer County. Thanks to Kevin for sending that. And one more picture for you here, and it's the same general cloud. Melissa's sending that in right into White Mills as you work your way down toward Hardin County. So good shots of the clouds moving through. Lightning is a little tougher to catch, but we know some of you did, and we appreciate you tagging us in those because we've seen them. Obviously, with the rain, we've cooled way down.
We're at 94 degrees today. We had a heat index of like 105-ish. Now we're at 74, so we've dropped 20 degrees because of that.
This may be our low for the day.
It could
I don't remember
be.
what this morning was. It seemed like it was in
Don't
the
quiz me on that.
mid-70s.
I can't remember,
Yeah.
but it was somewhere probably north of 74.
Yeah,
It
so-
probably was. So yeah, that is our new low most likely.
So we'll warm back up a little bit this evening as this rain pushes to our south. Let's talk about dew points for all the weather geeks. You know, I've essentially quit talking about dew points on television because the consultants, they're always changing something, but they're like, nobody wants to know about the dew point. Nobody even knows what it is. The fact is, it's helpful to us as meteorologists because it gives us an idea of how much moisture is in the atmosphere, and that does a lot. It tells us, A, how efficient the rain storms would be if they occurred. It tells us about the heat index on how hot it will feel to our bodies if we have high dew points. Bottom line on it is, when the dew point equals the temperature, the relative humidity is 100%. You start to push dew points into the 70s, which we've had for the last week or two?
Easily.
And that's really muggy and oppressive, right? You start to go into the mid 70s and low 80s. That's really miserable. That's about as high as it gets. I think our highest has been 85?
83.
83.
I think that's the record, and that's a
So-
disputed record. 82 is like the accepted Louisville
Yeah.
record, yeah.
So it's rare to see many in the 80s, and today a lot of folks were in the 80s in terms of dew point temperature, which just means a tremendous amount of water is in the atmosphere. Obviously, we've exhausted some of that by bringing these storms in.
Yeah, and you notice that they're already forming a gap right along I-65 there near Lebanon Junction here. These are not going to stay together for all that much longer. They will likely make it down to southern Kentucky before all is said and done. You see here in Louisville, it's just kind of cloudy, a few little showers. Not a big deal. We're done with that. But look at the rainfall totals. Look, Kevin, we needed some of this rain today, so this was actually much needed. Lanesville with 1.16, Corydon there sneaking in with 1.35.
Isn't it interesting to look at the map and see how some folks got over an inch of
yeah.
rain? I mean, it was a pretty decent push of rain, but some folks got a little bit of rain earlier this morning,
They did.
too, like around midday, late morning.
And that was
So-
like northeast Jefferson County that got in on that. You'll see some of the heaviest rainfall totals within Jefferson County, like near Seatonville Road and Route Road, 1.27 down there, 1.06 in the Parkland neighborhood. So good dousing of rain to hopefully turn your brown grass a little greener today.
Well, that's the thing. How many brown lawns have you seen this year?
Not a whole lot.
Me either.
There's been some brown spots, but the yards overall have been in pretty good shape.
It's amazing, which again, this is a double-edged sword, and today's a good example because our highs were in the mid-90s. But had we been dry in the previous weeks, we would have soared probably closer to 100 just on the air temperature today. Now, of course, the humidity wouldn't have been in the air, and our dew points would have been lower, and consequently our heat index probably would have not been as drastic of a spread as what we've had. So it's a little give and take on that, but with everything so green, trees included, and the grass, we're pushing a bunch of moisture into the atmosphere, and that's giving us these heavy rainmakers. We haven't had a front move through here, a decent front pass by,
Oh my gosh.
week and a half?
Yeah, at least.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, but we have one on the way, and that's going to flip the pattern that really brings in some delightful weather that we sort of teased you with.
Yeah, and we're not talking about like get your jackets on weather, but we're talking about like pleasant weather at least for this time of year standards. Remember, it is still July going into August here. Hold your kind of candle to that sort
And
of
the
standard.
first person that puts anything about pumpkin spice in the chat, I'm banning you.
That doesn't start till August 26th at your local
I'm
Starbucks.
kidding, I'm
by
not
the way.
banning. I don't ban anybody. Well, unless you're cursing or really crazy.
Oh, we've banned some people. before. We've
But
had
they're
to.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's not just for the
It's a
fun
pretty
of it.
high water
It's not
mark
just for the
that.
fun of it.
No, gosh, no.
All right, I want to get back to the radar. So I've put this on. These are not severe, and that's the
No.
important thing. We're just kind of wanted to get on because the lightning and the thunder was so outrageous. And you'll notice that we currently have storms ongoing to our south. Let me take the satellite view off, and I put the lightning bolts on much larger so you can see them here. And there you have it. I mean, we're still producing, even though the rain is easing. The lightning is too, but it's still very compact and intense. So these storms are going to be loud as they pass by.
I had about 1,000 lightning strikes within our sort of Kentucky and Indiana view combined earlier this evening, and that was within a 10-minute period. So you get the idea. That's come down probably by about half or so. But
that's what?
That's 367 right now. Yeah,
367.
you've got a bigger one here.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
My eyes aren't as good as yeah.
We blew it up on another
I'm
screen
looking
for
at the smallest one too.
It's hard. We've got some small monitors in here, but yeah, that's the count there. It's 372, and that's within the last 10 minutes whenever you see that here. Most of that now south of Louisville.
Yeah, and it's moving south. So places that are now getting some rain, let me just walk you through the radar, and we'll just kind of walk through this. And if you have questions or whatever you want to punch up,
Sure.
Ryan, you take that. I'll go down into Breckenridge County. So this will take us across Freimeyer, Irvington, pushing into Meade County, not far from the Brandenburg area. This is stretching into Hardin County, too. So you can see some of that rain now making its way closer to E-Town. And in fact, we, of course, have a SkyTrack camera in E-Town seeing that move in all the way down toward Franklin Crossroads. So heavy rain, not severe, probably not even high wind gust out of this, more than 30 miles an hour, but a decent amount of quick-hitting rain and the lightning. So that's that area of it. And then it becomes a little more broken. So down 65, what a gift. I mean, if we've got travelers on 65, it's at least a little bit
Lucky,
of a break, right?
Wow.
Because over toward Bardstown, we still have additional heavy downpours. There's New Haven. Of course, you come up through Culvertown, push your way right up to Bardstown and up into northeast Nelson County as you work your way toward Bloomfield. And that's right along the parkway there. And then just arcing it back over into Franklin County, see a lot of lightning with that pushing past the capital city.
Yeah, speaking of Frankfurt, Susan was asking, why has Frankfurt been dropped on your maps? And here's the deal. The temperature sensor at the Frankfurt airport is offline right now, so it shows up as blank. We still have the label there, obviously. We haven't forgotten about you guys, but the FAA has to fix that. So that's a government thing, not us. If you see that blank, that should return hopefully in the coming days or weeks.
Sometimes it takes a while to get these airports back up. You know, we had problems with Clark County. We had problems out of Bardstown one time.
It might
especially
take a
the smaller, you know, what we call them, regional airports. It's not even a
These
big
little general
airport.
aviation airports, you know, it's tough to get those things fixed because the resources just aren't as great as like Louisville International Airport, for instance.
So you see that rain slipping to the south. It is fading. It will be out of here probably within the next hour. So most areas, you know, well, I mean, we've had a decent number of folks getting at least some rain out of this today. Arguably, the chance could have been higher than 40%, but you never know on days like today how this is going to develop. And it happened to develop where it spread across the entire viewing area. So our southernmost counties may miss out on this, but as it tracks now, many areas are going to at least get some rain out of this for today. And some have already seen sizable totals. I mean, upwards of 2 to 3 inches of rain in some parts of southern Indiana.
Wherever you see that yellow shading there from Corydon to Salem up toward even like Carrollton too, some areas of that yellow starting to peak up there in Switzerland County, Indiana. And that's an inch plus in that darker green from Shelbyville over toward Frankfurt and then up toward, say, Orangeville, Indiana, Salem once again. So it's been splotchy, but it's certainly somewhat widespread here. You see the storm reports with no official storm reports within our counties here, but we'll see what happens with Charlestown. They had some poles and trees down there.
And we saw that from the police, and the emergency manager has been keeping everybody up to date with what's happening there. So we appreciate Gavin sending that info. They have had a number of trees down and power lines down just across the river. This is the Imping report. We haven't had many of those. So again, it wasn't severe as it pushed through Louisville, but nonetheless it was loud, and it certainly had a lot of water in a short period of time. So immediate flash flooding was a brief concern that has since eased at this point. Give you a wider view of what's happening. All of the fronts are well to the north, and that's where we have a number of severe thunderstorm watches, warnings, and even have had tornado warnings closer to that area of low pressure.
And that's normal for this time of year. The Dakotas, Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, Michigan.
Which we saw over the weekend.
We did, yeah. That's their severe weather season, is July and even parts of August before it really goes into Canada, as it were. So our severe weather season, if you haven't noticed, is mostly ended here. But even so, we can still get these pop-up events like today where you get power outages.
Yeah, we've got several. This is Clark County, so they've got about 2.1% of the reporting of what we track. So it's about 1,400 customers there without power. We have others here in Louisville, less than 1%, 3,000 customers though, so decent number. I'll just go through them all. And let's jump up to, say, Lawrence County. Here's Bedford. Less than, again, 1%. What about Orange County?
There's Orange County, 3.4%. That's about 588 customers tracked or that are out. And then
Dubois County,
about 1% there.
not bad, and Crawford.
And here's Crawford, just under 1% there too, not many at all.
Harrison.
About 0.5%, 171 without power.
And then back across the river, we'll come to Louisville last. So let's go down to Litchfield, which is odd because the storms aren't even there yet, right? Are they just now getting there?
I think they're just now getting there, yeah. So gust front may have reached them,
Not many.
taking out 97 customers. And some of this may be due to other things, too. It's not necessarily just storms. They may be working on stuff. 0.5% of Nelson County without power there.
Shelby.
And Shelby's about 0.5%.
Not bad. We'll go North Henry.
That's about 3% without power.
Here comes Jefferson.
All right, 3,000 customers without power. That's decent. 0.7% though. By percentage, it's low, but by sheer number, it can be high. Speaking of percentage being high, though, that's Spencer County. That's 10% without power.
That's a big outage.
Right, but there's only 7,400 customers tracked in Spencer County. It's one of our lower population counties within our viewing area here. So it's all relative to the number versus what we actually get that's tracked.
Well, all of this is just part of what's been going on. When you heat the atmosphere the way we've heated it, when you supply it with the moisture that we've had, we get into this pattern where we see daily chances for thunderstorms if they can develop on boundaries that have been set. While we don't have a front moving through and we don't have the orographic features to give us lift, we do have the sun and the heating of the day that can trigger thunderstorms if we can break what we would call the cap. And we certainly have the heat, we have the moisture, we've had the available sun to provide some of that lift, and we're still consequently under the heat advisory that will take us through the middle part of the week.
Right, these aren't the storms that are going to end this whole thing. That's going to be on Thursday, so until then, the atmosphere still has plenty of juice left to get those temperatures into the 90s, those heat index values 105 plus, including tomorrow, Kevin, where we've got a 107-degree heat index possible there.
You know, tomorrow is going to be a very hot day. Wednesday will be hot as well. We're talking highs mid to upper 90s. Will we hit 97? That's the big debate because the ground is moist.
Right.
It's tough to do when we have this much green around and then moisture content in the soil. But it is possible that we would get into the mid 90s tomorrow. So whether that's 95 or 97, it's going to be close. And that heat index should range between 105 and 110 tomorrow afternoon, which is use of extreme caution if you have to be out and about. We have already seen that we've had very warm days, but even warmer nights in the sense of above average.
Right, so here's the deal. This is the second warmest summer on record so far in Louisville, and a lot of us are going, how can that be? We haven't hit 100 degrees. No, it doesn't. It's all about how prolonged the heat has been. We have had 31 days in the 90s so far this year, and the overnight lows have been in the 70s to near 80 degrees.
And
so
that is it.
And that is it, because you average the high, the low, and everything in between. It's not just the high temperatures, it's that everything in between that's been hot lately. So when you get that over a very long period of time like this, you end up with something like that. Will it stay at the second warmest summer on record so far? We'll see. But you'll see that we don't have to drop much to drop out of that ranking there. 1936, which comes up in our weather records for heat quite a bit, Dust Bowl era there, 80.9 was the average temperature. It's that average temperature between the high and the low that we're measuring for all of these years, Kevin.
Yeah, and it can be misleading because, you know, not everybody, I mean, you get just about 20 miles outside of, well, maybe not even that, 10 miles, 20 miles away from the core of the city, and it cools down much more effectively at night. It is the concrete, it is the heat island that holds in that very warm temperature at night, and consequently, you know, airport readings at night, this is the whole, I mean, we could get on the whole climate change debate, but the fact is we wind up seeing these cities so much warmer at night because of all of the concrete. It holds on to it, so it's not like a lush green yard that cools down effectively at night, and so your temperature might be 10 degrees cooler in the suburbs. I mean, you see that on the 11 o'clock maps, right, when we're showing it at night, and it's like, well, Louisville's still 81, but just across the river in Jeff, it's like 72. It's like, well, that's odd. It's, 2 miles away.
And there's, something to consider here. A lot of people are like, hey, well, this temperature is being recorded at the airport with all this concrete and asphalt. Nobody lives at the airport, right? I get that. But a lot of folks do live in spots of Louisville without the tree canopy. So that does represent sort of the core of the heat island. So areas like northwest Jefferson County, like West Louisville, even across the river in parts of like New Albany and some of Clarksville and Jeffersonville are still kind of in that heat island area. So that's what that represents. It's kind of the worst case scenario. And then you kind of step outside of that, it gets cooler because of that more tree canopy, less concrete sort of situation that Kevin was talking about.
Yeah, and so you might be thinking, well, why aren't daytime highs that much hotter? Well, the fact is, it's because the heating is far more distributed during the day and equal, but at night it's the concrete that holds on to the heat, and then it just kind of releases it through the night, and it's a much slower cool down than what it would be otherwise. So that's the reason daytime highs typically are closer in average when you look across the area. I want to mention this because some folks have our app and it's always a confusion point, but we have a great app. In fact, we appreciate everybody's suggestions on the app. We're still working to make some improvements to the app, so stay tuned for those. There is only so much we can change because it's a third-party app, meaning we didn't design the thing, we just sort of rent it. And we can make some changes, which is why you see what we do on there that's different than some of the others in town. We certainly input all of the data. That's one big difference. Two, we have a great radar, but sometimes we get the complaint of, hey, your radar's off. Here's what you got to do. You got to make sure that button on the lower right-hand side says passed. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense because you think, well, I don't want the past radar, I want the current radar. Well, you either have the choice of past or future. You sure don't want future, and you don't want past plus future unless you want to see the future. But past is going to equal current. Just think of it like that. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've asked them to change the...
And some folks ask, like, well, why can't I look at the future? And it's because that's running off of a computer model that isn't always very accurate. And when you're in a life-threatening situation like a tornado warning, you want to make sure you have the past radar so that you're seeing what's happening right now.
Look at
where
that.
it is. That's yellow.
That is beautiful.
Wow.
That's live.
Very yellow.
Yeah, that is
Holy
gorgeous.
Moly, that's cool. I bet we're going to get a lot of photos of that tonight.
I guarantee
Wow.
it. If you snap one, put it on our Facebook page. We put up storms. Have you had any problems? We always solicit photos. But if you go to the Facebook page, just look for the red block. Upload the photos. I'll use some at 11 o'clock tonight. Let's jump to some questions, and then I'll show you the flip and the pattern coming up in a second. I've got to load a few graphics.
Yeah, Jacob Wagner says he just drove through the storm that went through the Western Kentucky Parkway between Litchfield and E-Town. A lot of lightning and heavy rain, some wind, and a lot of small debris on the parkway there in Hardin County.
Yeah, a little bit of wind with that.
Yes, indeed. Pouring in Vine Grove, according to Terry Corbett there. Corbin says he's watching from Litchfield, hearing thunder off in the distance coming in from the north. Storm starting to let up a little bit in Radcliffe, according to Tammy here. Candace says, nothing now in Shepherdsville. Not surprised there. Shonda is talking about the sky there being beautiful. Isn't it beautiful? It's great. Tammy says she has electricity still in Radcliffe, which is good.
Good.
Let's see what else here. Corbin says he still has power in Litchfield. We can't show you the exact parts of the counties that have power outages. You'll have to go to your local utilities webpage for that, like LG&E or KU. Let's see. Estelle on YouTube says, that's a good screensaver. Yeah, I agree. Like, that's a weird color. Like, that's a really weird color.
You don't see the whole sky that orange, right?
That's kind of insane if you think about it. Oh, Tyler says, huge double rainbow above Campbellsburg right now.
There you go.
Campbellsburg, Kentucky or Indiana? We've got two of those. Let us know where you're at there.
I'm going to go Henry County.
You're going to say Henry County. All right. Storms are done in Garfield, according to Courtney. And then let's see here. Super windy Falls of Rough from Joplin's on YouTube there. Storming in Cloverport from Chris Corley. So many folks talking about what's happening at their location, and then, of course, the sky here in Louisville.
Well, a lot of people probably want to hear about the weekend and the change that's
I do.
coming. So I tell you what, I'm going to reset the graphics. We'll come back here in just a second, and we'll take a look at that 10-day earliest alert and the pattern flip. So hang with us. All right, welcome back. We've got our graphics set here, so we'll be able to show you that. Again, the sky changing minute by minute for us here as the sun sets. Beautiful colors, thanks to the storms that have passed by. I think the one thing you're really going to notice in the forecast will be that complete dip of humidity as the week rolls on. The front finally pushes past with that cooler, drier air on the backside.
And what a dip it's going to be. We go from dew points in the 70s down to the 50s for Friday. That's not temperatures, by the way. Those are dew points, so it will feel better. Lows will be in the 60s starting on Friday, which means that your home will actually be able to cool down at night in a much better fashion, and your AC is going to stop sweating.
And I haven't seen a pumpkin spice comment yet. Have you?
There was one.
There was
Someone
one?
tempted us with one. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, yes. I put her comment
That's
up earlier.
just-
I forgot her name. Sorry about that.
All right, here comes the 10-day. I want to just point out the cool down we have. You mentioned the 60s, Ryan. We're talking low to mid 60s in the outlying areas.
Yeah.
This would be for Saturday, Sunday morning. So what a perfect weekend we have coming up. Now, I mean, this bars anything from changing, but we're so close now that we would surely have an idea if it changed. And if it would, it wouldn't be that much. But it looks great. And all things for the last probably 4 or 5 days have pointed to this cooler pattern. Well, really, if you look back, we did see in early August that cooler temperatures would prevail. And even through the middle part, the long-range forecast still holds below average temperatures for a chunk of the month.
Yeah, so after being so far above average, August may be October. Yes, that's kind of what we're going to term it as.
Did we have that last year? It seems like we had a cool spell in August.
I don't know what I had for lunch today.
I would have
can't
to look
remember
back.
last year. Yeah, I have to look at the stats too. We'll have to see what that is.
All right. Well, that is the 10-day. Let's see. Any other questions? We're not staying on long tonight because, frankly, nothing's happening besides the beautiful sunset.
Yeah, Braden's asking, what was the hottest day ever recorded in Lexington and in Louisville? I think it was 1936. Is that right? Did we get to 100 something crazy?
I wanted
could look
to
that up.
Yeah, I wanted to say it was since then because I feel
Maybe
like
it
I
was.
remember us hitting like 125.
Oh, maybe so.
That sound right? We're getting the
I'm looking
answer,
at it.
Braden, so hang tight. I didn't even. You think we would be able
He's
to
naked without
think we
his
would
phone.
be able to Google that in here?
I got it coming up here. Let's see. So drum roll, please.
136 in Central Kentucky, 125 for Louisville, something like that.
Let's see. Top 10. Let's see. Days above 100. There we go. Oops, that's only number of 100-degree days. Let's see.
See, this is why AI is replacing us all.
Yeah, because it takes us forever. There we go.
It would have the answer.
All-time high in Louisville.
Louisville is different than the state.
Yes, that's correct. 107 degrees.
Oh, 107.
And we hit that in July 1901, 1930, and July 14th, 1936.
1936,
Yeah.
right, well, you had
So
that.
that's Louisville. The all-time record high is 114 in Greene County, Greensburg.
That's right.
July 28th of 1930. So there you go. And then Lexington, because that was also a question posed. I can go to the same thing here. Thank you to NWS Louisville for sorting this so easily
Right.
to find.
They have a great site where
Yeah.
they kept up with all the climate.
Saving my bacon here. Here's a hokey weather fact for you. The all-time high in Lexington is a degree higher than Louisville. Louisville's was 107 back in the 30s.
Yep.
Lexington's is 108 back on July 15th, the day after, 1936. They also did that on July 10th. So twice in the same week in Lexington, they hit the all-time record high back in
Sounds like a
1936.
terrible week.
Yes.
36 was a brutal year.
The all-time record high for Indiana, for those on the other side of the river, by the way, is 116, July 14th, 1936, very popular date, near Collegeville in Jasper County, Indiana. There you go. So Indiana has historically been hotter than Kentucky when it comes to the all-time extremes.
All right. Interesting stuff.
Yes, we like the stats.
Lori's asking a question. Any more storms tomorrow? And the answer is yes, there will be a few, but not as many as what we saw today.
Yeah,
the chance is much lower.
Today was the higher chance of the bunch here, but you'll see those chances go back up Thursday with that front moving through.
All right, and here comes Estelle saying, I know you don't have it now, but maybe next time you might know if we will see an early winter.
Sure, why not?
You know, we always release, I mean, we're not, this is the crazy part. Once August gets here, it like flies by and then summer's over, and then you're into September and then October. Well, on Halloween is when we release the winter forecast, and Brian works on that. He's been looking at stuff already because he looks at everything from sunspots to, camel hair on the back of their necks. I don't know. It's like everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff.
It's really weird, but everything. So we'll have our winter forecast as we approach Halloween. It's always the day,
Have you started your Christmas shopping yet?
right?
Pumpkin spice, Christmas
I
shopping.
could be one of those people.
Oh, I can't. I can't think ahead that much.
Well, I can't either, and then I'm worried, will things change? And then what if it's, not, my mind is like, well,
What if?
What if?
Yeah.
And it's just constantly like, well, that might not be the right thing, or if it is now, it may not be by then, and then it's just a constant cycle.
It's like, let's get them a new phone case for Christmas. Oh, they got a different phone in October. Well, they have to return that now, that kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, here's Angie jumping
Yes.
in because we talked about this corn sweat. Corn sweat is a real thing, and that's why sometimes in the plains you see higher areas of moisture content in the atmosphere, higher dew points, higher humidity values, and that's because the corn, and it's not just corn, though corn, because it has more moisture content than soybeans or other things, gives off moisture. And that, of course, gets evaporated, and that means you have higher humidity values. So the heat index can be higher in the Corn Belt.
Yeah, so that's why Indiana often has higher dew points than Kentucky. It's all of that corn, Indiana, Illinois, and especially Iowa. Those places go nuts this time of year with all that high humidity, and it's all thanks to the corn.
All right, fog could be a thing, and Jessica's mentioning, tell people in southern Indiana to be careful when stopping on the roadways in fog, even if you have your flashers on. Could see some fog tonight with this rain that we've had go through the area, so be careful. That pushes past. Chrissy says, beautiful storm coming in Springfield. The lightning is wild. Yeah, it was wild. That's probably and I didn't see it outside of watching it from our cameras, but it was wild on the cameras, which if you could catch it in person, it would be wild.
Yeah, and the sound in our studio, because that studio has super high ceilings, so everything like reverberates and shakes, scared me. You'll see, if you look back at the 7 o'clock newscast this evening during my 7:48, 7:49 weather, I jolted because it was so loud. It actually scared me on the air. That hasn't happened much.
Yeah, I was watching, and then it was sort of shaking like a low rumble for a while, and then it was like, oh man.
All the drywall screws were going to come out of the walls the way it was doing that. It was nuts.
The chicken wire coming down.
Oh Lord, don't get. Oh.
It's not really exactly that.
Yeah, don't get me started on that ceiling. That's gross.
Here's Timothy saying gusty winds and downpours in Bloomfield. That's what they've had, so appreciate that report. Susan is saying that's why it felt hotter in Lansing, Michigan than in Louisville when I moved back to Michigan in 1979.
Bingo.
Yeah, and Wanda's saying surrounded by all the cornfields all around. Yeah, we can't escape them around here, right? All right. Well, it's after 9. We're going to let everybody go and get back to your business of the evening. Thanks for spending part of it with us. We just wanted to jump on. It's always good for us. It's been a busy year. We've talked about that until we've, cows have come home, it seems like, because we started with such wild winter weather.
Yep.
Went right into severe weather season.
Yep.
And then we had then flooding, then severe weather season, and then jumped right into the heat. So it has been a little wicked. But things are easing back. We'll enjoy this calm weekend. But, we haven't been on, and we haven't had too many alert days, and that's when you find us in the evenings. Brian's on every morning to give you sort of that get prepared for the day outlook. But in the evenings, we jump on occasion when there are alert days lurking, and when it is an alert day. But days like today when we have active weather moving through, even though it was not an alert day, we felt like it might be necessary just to jump on and let you know, hey, we're here and we are watching it, which we always are. So hope you have a good evening. I'll be back on at 11 o'clock tonight. We'll all be back at during the day tomorrow. So I think Tawana is back tomorrow. She's been off the last couple of days. So Brian will be back at midday and at 3. I'll be back on in the afternoon and catch Ryan at 7. So have a good evening. Enjoy. These storms are passing by. They're not severe. Hope you enjoyed the sunset. If you caught any good pictures from today, post them to our Facebook page. And we will catch you guys later. Have a good one.
See you, everybody. Good night.